say it's for most people. Okay.
Okay.
However, for those that are young, especially, there are something that's called a 529 plan. Have you heard
Yeah.
of those before?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
College. Yes.
they're very popular. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
So parents will get these for their children so that
Yes.
once college time comes, their child has this money for school. Okay.
Yes.
But
Yes.
they can only spend it for college.
Yes.
The only part to that is that more and more young adults are choosing not to go to college because they can become with shoot the internet right now, social media. Some of these kids are making millions of dollars being 12
Yeah.
because of social media, and they see no need in going to college
Right.
because they're now entrepreneurs. And
Right.
so that 529 is now a waste of money.
Okay.
However, if instead of putting the money in a 529 and they put it inside of this insurance policy and let the compound interest build up, by the time they become 18 or 19 and it's time for them to either go to college or travel around Europe or do whatever they want to do, the money is there to be able to
Okay.
do whatever they want to do.
Wow. Okay.
And on top of that, by the time they reach retirement age, they would have $1 million inside that policy.
Welcome everyone to another edition of Lanes of Mastery. It's your host Lucky. Welcome, welcome back. Today we have every guest is special because everyone is unique. Everyone is different that we bring on here, right? And so today we have a special guest that's actually very interesting to me because we all deal with money every day, but it's amazing how much most of us deal with something on a daily basis and still don't know what we're doing.
Mhm.
Decades later, still have no idea what's going on, right? So my special guest today is a master of money. So this is her lane, master of money. So I'm going to let her introduce herself, but I will say I'm very excited. I'm very excited to have this opportunity to speak with you and for all of us to be able to learn, including myself. I started this podcast because I wanted to learn from people who have mastered their lane, from
Mm.
people who have done something so well that it piqued my curiosity, my interest. It made me want to go over and say, hey, how do you do that? Whether it's a plumber, an electrician, a doctor, doesn't matter what lane of life you're in. When you do it so well, to me, it all looks the same. There's just
Mm.
something that draws people to their curiosity to how does this person make that water move like that, or that electricity, how do they do that, the harness it, and things like that. So anyway, with no further ado, I will let you introduce yourself. That way you can kind of formulate it the way you like, and we're definitely going to get started into some good stuff. So please do.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lucky, for having me. Listen, it is an honor to be here. And I would love to introduce myself to the audience. So, my name is Shakey Webster, affectionately known as Aunty Shakey. I am the financial matchmaker. So, you know, I help people find their perfect sir through stocks, insurance, and real estate. So, well, I'll tell you about my journey a little bit later. But
Okay.
um, I am a financial professional. I have been a financial professional for well over 17 years. So definitely, I have mastered this lane on how money moves, how money works. Money is fascinating to me. Just the tool of itself, the energy behind money is so interesting to me. And so I know we'll probably get into that a little bit later.
Yes. Okay. So I'll just say this before we even get started into your journey and things like that. You've done this for 17 years. What were you doing before that?
Oh gosh. Okay. So, you want to go there? No, I'm just kidding.
And I asked that question. I asked that question because I want to know before you got into it and mastered it the way you have. Really, that question was to ask this question really, which is what have you learned about money as a result of after having mastered it or as a result of being in it for so long that you cannot believe you didn't know or that was completely different than you thought before you got into it, coming from wherever you came from? That's what I really wanted to know.
Yeah, that's a great question. So, it really took me losing it all
Okay.
to understand it. And
Okay.
so, what I mean by that is in 2008, actually 2007, my husband and I, we moved from Chicago, Illinois,
Okay.
uh, to Atlanta
Okay.
with like a lot of money in the bank. Okay.
Okay.
We had a little over $1 million in the bank.
Okay.
And we had a real estate portfolio of about $5 million. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
And we were living good. Lucky when I tell you
Okay.
we were living good, okay?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Uh,
Yeah. 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 With the U. Good with the
right,
U. Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
So, it's just me, my husband, and we have one son, okay?
Okay.
So it's just three of us. And
Okay.
so we came to Atlanta, wanting to buy up, all of these properties because at the time you were able to get properties for like $3,000, $7,000. Like it's not like that in Atlanta anymore,
Okay.
but you could
Yeah.
get almost anything, and we did. You know how
Okay.
people say block buy up the block? Shoot, we were
Yeah.
buying whole neighborhoods at this point, right?
Wow.
And
Okay.
so, um, and we did just that, and we were successful for a little bit of time.
Okay.
But 2008 happened.
Okay.
And as most of you all know, that was the start of the housing bubble
Okay.
bursting, right?
Mhm.
And a lot of people lost a lot of
Mhm.
money, okay?
Mhm.
Lost their property. But me and my husband, we thought we were good. We got money in the bank. We got all of these properties. We'll be fine. We can wait it out, And no. It was like one property went. We were like, nope, we're good. We're good. And then another property went, and another property, and another property, till we had nothing left.
Okay.
And so we held on to just being able to stay in the house that we lived in. Now, mind you, the house that we lived in was 5,000 square feet.
Okay.
Okay. It had seven bedrooms, 5.5 bathrooms. What did I tell you? It's just me, my husband, and we have
And
one
your son.
child.
Yes.
Who's occupying all of these rooms? Why?
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
why are we trying to hold on to this house? It
Right.
doesn't make sense. It's
Right.
literally draining all of our money. We were paying a mortgage of 4,000 for let me be exact, $4,500 every single month in
Okay.
an economy that is literally wiping everybody out.
Okay.
And so we lost it all. We lost the house. We had to get to the point where, because I had some nice bags, I had some nice clothes,
Okay.
all of that. All of it needed to be sold just so that we can move into an apartment.
Okay.
And I remember my husband coming to me, and he sat me down. And my husband, you'd have to know him. He's such a man's man, right?
Yes.
He's
Yes.
he's one of those men where when he came to me, he was like, I don't want my wife to work. Like he's like one of them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so he sat me down and he said, "You're gonna have to get a job." And I know that was very difficult for him to say to me. And it was even harder for me to hear
Right.
it
Right.
and
Right.
embrace it, right?
Right.
And
Right.
so I ended up going on an interview. Okay, so I started applying to different places. There was not a whole lot of options during that time other than really customer service work. And so I applied for a customer service position. They had me come in for the interview. And I walked in there like, I
Okay.
know I'm about to get this job. Okay.
Right.
First of all, because I can run the whole company. Okay.
Right. Right.
And
Okay. Yeah.
so,
Yeah. Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and so anyway, um, she offers me the position just like I knew she would. Okay. And lucky, I'm walking out and I said, oh, I look forward to starting, on Monday, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But by the way, how much will I be making? Okay. She said, oh, with, with such excitement. Like she was just so excited to tell me this. She said, "Oh, you'll be making $10.25 an hour." Lucky, there had to be, like, I felt like I was gut punched.
Right, right,
Like
right.
I went to the car and bawled because the thought of me coming from where I was and I sit somewhere for an entire hour, and in exchange for 1 hour of my time, you're going to give me a $10 bill and a quarter?
Mm-hmm.
That didn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that there's people that do that on a daily basis, but it didn't make sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of the toughest days of my life to know that this was now going to be my life, and I wasn't sure for what length of time.
Mm-hmm.
And so during that time while I'm at that job, there's a gentleman that I used to network with, and he said to me, "Hey, come to this hotel presentation." Now, Lucky, I don't know if you're old enough to remember hotel presentations. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I know what you
Okay.
mean.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
And so he kept inviting me out to this hotel presentation. I don't want to go to your hotel. I don't want to hear no presentation. Okay. And, and so I finally come because I just wanted to shut him up. Have you
Right.
ever
Yeah,
just,
okay. I'm coming. Yeah.
I'm coming.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I show up. All right. I'm sitting in the second row. Second row on the end. Okay. Because I need a quick exit out.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
once
Yeah. Yeah.
once they start calling people to the front and doing the invitation, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I need to
Yeah.
be able to sneak out.
Yeah. It's like
Okay,
church. You got to be able to get out when they get a little
exactly,
strange. Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Because I ain't coming there to buy nothing.
Right.
I don't want to be sold nothing. This
Right.
is the I'm just here so this man can stop talking to me.
Right.
But there was a guy that came in front of the room, Lucky, and he was talking about money so spicy. And he was saying how you can use life insurance to grow your wealth, to protect it, to leverage it, and just how the money, moves inside these policies. And I'm sitting up here like I gotta literally hold on to the sides of the seat because I'm ready to jump out. Like, oh my god, like I finally like scream out like, where was this at like 4 years ago? Okay,
Right. Right.
because Lucky, I would have never lost all that I had
Really?
I known
Mhm.
about this.
Okay.
And so at the end of the meeting, I walked up again, the same meeting that I said I ain't gonna be sold to. Ain't
Yeah.
nobody.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave early. I was
Yeah.
actually the last to leave. Okay,
Wow. Okay.
um, but I needed to know what this was, and whatever it was, I had vowed that I was going to tell other people like me about it.
Okay.
And so that's how my journey started.
Wow. Okay. When you bought all the houses, what were you guys trying to do with them? Were you trying to flip them? Were you just making them rentals? What were you?
Both. Both.
Okay.
So we had a
Okay.
mixture of both. We
Okay.
had fix and flips, buy and holds, both.
Okay. And, I'm kind of jumping around a little bit. 'Cause some of it is based on what you're saying. But so now that you've been in this 17 years, what is your opinion of property now, as it
Mm,
relates to the market, the ebbs and flows? And because everybody says real estate is this or that, and it's interesting to me because my mother's family, are their wealth came from real estate. They not that she sold off a lot now because those are her parents' properties and their parents, but at one point her parents had about 100 pieces of property across the country. So that is where they got their wealth from. So,
yeah.
then you hear people say that. I grew up under that. I used to go around with my grandfather collecting rent when I was like 10 or 11. And I didn't conceptually know that people didn't own where they lived. I didn't really understand that because everybody that in my family owned where they lived.
Mhm.
So I was like, well, why are people giving you money if you don't live here, if they don't live with, I didn't understand it. So then once he started breaking it down, but anyway, I don't want to digress too far, but so it's interesting because that's what people say. That's been my experience, but I never really wanted to get into it because I didn't want to be a landlord. I don't want anybody calling me talking about something's not working. I can't sleep. So you bought that to flip it and to rent it. So,
Yes.
but now, what is your concept of property? What is your thing?
Yeah. So I think the part that people need to understand that there are so many different ways to get into the real estate game. Okay.
Okay.
And
Okay.
mostly people think about, oh, okay, the fix and flips because they have these television shows that, show you, oh, all you have to do is, buy, decide from three properties and decide
Yeah.
which one of these three properties,
Yeah. Yeah.
you actually want to invest
Yeah.
in, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
at the end of 30 minutes, you have this beautiful
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
piece of
Yeah.
property, right? They
Yeah.
make it seem
HGTV will get you, boy. Yeah.
exactly
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
make it seem like it's so easy, and it's so far fetched from that, right? Um, and then let's just say you do a buy and hold and put a renter into it,
Hmm.
just like you mentioned. You can have tenants from hell.
Yeah.
Tenants that literally I had a tenant. Well, technically, they were more than just a tenant, that they were also my property manager.
Okay.
But he came into one of our properties and he was selling off the rooms. I
Okay.
rented it to
He was
him.
subletting, and he's
Yeah,
subletting. Yeah.
subletting.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
bro, what,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, you got problems like that, right?
Mhm.
And so I said, because I am a real estate investor, and again, remember, I said that I teach people the SIR method, which is stocks, insurance, and real estate, because I
Okay.
truly believe that people get wealthy and they sustain their wealth through stocks, insurance, and real estate. Okay.
Okay.
Having
Okay.
all three is really the perfect solution.
Okay.
And so, but with real estate, you can get into it several different ways. And so the way I'm into real estate now is two different ways.
Okay.
One, as a hard money lender. A lot of
Okay.
people don't look at themselves and don't even think about becoming a lender in the
Yeah.
space of real estate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And then on top of that, also I am building a glamping community. So
What is that?
glamping is glamorous camping.
Okay.
So, there's some people that they like roughing it, and then there's some people they like to be in the woods
Yeah.
and they still want indoor plumbing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. 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 That's all me.
Right, exactly. They want
Okay.
nice
Okay.
sheets. They
Yes.
want, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
they want televisions, they want
Yeah.
the essence of camping, but the luxury of just a good overnight stay.
Oh, okay. Okay. So those are like RVs, or they're like
No,
campers, or
tiny homes. Tiny homes.
tiny
So,
home.
yep. So we have some tiny homes. We have some tree houses. We have some domes. Those
Okay.
really big domes. So there's several different types of structures that we're putting on top of this property.
Wow. Okay. Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Most people. Yeah. Most people don't talk or think about it like that. Yeah. Okay. So I know I first heard of you in regards to insurance,
Hmm.
and so life insurance and all those different things. And so I really wanted to dig into you about that because, I mean, the concept of life insurance, I don't even know if I understand, or if hardly anybody that doesn't do it or knows somebody who's doing it understands, maybe even the way they think they do. I don't think
Yeah.
people know what they know or don't know what they don't know. So, I know that's one of your three things, along with the other one being stock. But I'm interested in the insurance. When
Hmm.
you talk about you would have been able to hold some of your stuff. What do you mean by insurance? What type of insurance are you talking about? What type of insurances are there? What what is this is because this podcast is for the average person. Like I call it, like the Walmart podcast. It's 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 regular information from successful people, but regular information from regular people for regular people. So
Yeah.
that if you and your husband, were driving down the street and you heard this come on, it may be somebody completely unrelated to what you do in life, but they may say one or two things that you can take in your life,
Sure.
right? And say,
Mhm.
oh, they get up 15 minutes early and talk to the birds, and that's why they're successful, or just
Yes.
people's
Yes.
things. So so I want everybody to be able to get access to things that they at best hear the faint whisper of, but don't
Mhm.
really know what that is, right?
Yeah.
So when you say insurance, what do you mean? What do you mean?
So, what I mean is life insurance.
Okay.
So, under the umbrella of life insurance, there's several different products, right?
Okay.
So, we have our term insurance. Term insurance is just like it sounds, it's for a certain term or
Okay.
period of time. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So, term insurance is your least expensive life insurance. If a person cannot, let's just say they cannot afford the next thing that I'm talking about is whole life insurance. If they can't afford that, then at least get a term policy. Okay.
Okay.
Also, term policy can be used to leverage debt. Okay. I do that often. Okay. Any one of my properties or even my business partner. I have a business partner that we do the glamping with. I have a term policy on him. He's a key man within my business. Okay, but our business is not for a long stint of time.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
it's only for maybe about 15 years. So, but if something were to happen to him, then that is going to be a hit to the business. So,
Yes.
I would put something like a term policy on him. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Um, so again, term does not, you don't get any cash value once the term is over. People are like, I don't get anything. No, you don't. Okay. Much like car insurance or house insurance, it's just
Okay.
there just in case something happens.
Okay.
Now you do also have whole life insurance.
Okay.
Whole life insurance is permanent insurance. So once you have whole life insurance, so long as you pay your premium, you have it for the rest of your life. Okay.
Okay.
Again, so long as you pay the premium. Um,
Okay. Right. Yeah.
so, um, but whole life insurance does actually accumulate some cash value. Okay.
Okay.
Typically about 3% per year.
Okay.
Whole life insurance will give you some cash value. Now, the only thing with whole life is that the main focus is on the death benefit. Okay.
Okay.
So for example, if you have a family and there's something that's called the dime, okay, of figuring out how much life insurance one needs. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So you need to figure out your death benefit, okay, your income, okay, your children's education, all of that needs to your debt, all of that needs to go into effect when really identifying how much life insurance you need.
Okay.
Most of us are underinsured, okay, so that's whole life is another one.
Okay.
And then you have another product, and I'll just mention those three. This will be the last one because there are other products, but the other one is index universal life insurance. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
What that is a form of whole life insurance because it is permanent insurance as well. However, it just operates a little differently. Okay. It is an index product, and what makes it an index product is that it's not in the market, but it moves with the market. So
Hmm.
your earning potential is greater.
Okay.
So the averages on the index have been anywhere from 8 to 12% year
Wow.
over year, which
Wow.
is far different than the whole life.
The three
Okay,
percent. Right.
at 3%. So
Okay.
this is the reason why this particular product is so appealing and interesting to a lot of people.
Okay. Wow. And how much? And what would the price difference of that be on average?
That's such a good question. Um, and so with an IUL and with a whole life policy, it's really not a difference in price, it's a difference in strategy. Let me
Oh.
explain.
Okay.
So let's just say, Lucky, you got a $500,000 policy.
Okay.
And that $500,000 policy costs you $1,000. It would not cost you $1,000. We're just using,
Yes. Numbers.
okay,
Yeah. Yes.
fake numbers. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
So that $1,000 is going to pay for $500,000 worth of life insurance.
Okay.
Okay. So the $1,000 is for 500,000, and
Okay.
you're going to make very little cash accumulation, the 3%. Remember?
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
However, with an IUL or Index Universal Life Policy,
Yes.
we flip that upside down. You're still going to pay that same $1,000.
Okay.
However, I'm only going to give you $100,000 worth of life insurance
Okay.
because the main focus is the cash accumulation, not the life insurance.
Okay.
We want to earn money. We want to earn cash value. We do not care about the life insurance. The only
Okay.
reason why we have life insurance is because we have to.
Yes.
That's the IRS says in order for you to use this as a cash accumulation product, you have to have some form of life insurance. Okay, so let me give you the least amount that is required
Okay.
so that I can have the max amount of cash value.
Okay.
Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. Okay. And then going to your stocks, how do you what is your how do you weave that into the the tripartite state?
Yeah. So it's just all about diversity. It's all
Okay.
about diversity. So being diverse, and so, obviously I have my favorite stocks of Apple and Tesla, some fintech, um, I just tell people take a little piece of money. Just take a little piece of money and put it inside of your favorite stock. Okay.
Okay.
Follow people like a Wall Street trapper, do your due diligence on the stock that you find some interest in. Okay.
Okay.
Because the one thing I know is stocks are a long-term play.
Okay.
Life insurance is a long-term play. This
Okay.
is none of what I'm real estate is a long-term play.
Okay.
None of what I'm sharing with people in the SIR method is not about getting rich quick.
Okay.
It's about leveraging, and it's also about diversifying your funds so that you don't have all your eggs in one basket. Because here's the thing, Lucky. Let me break this down. I
Okay.
tell people all the time that when I look at for an investment, there's three things that I look at.
Okay.
One, is it safe?
Yep. Oh yeah. Yes.
Is it safe? Right?
Yes.
Now, let's consider stocks. Okay, let's consider stocks. Are stocks safe? Investing in the stock market, is that safe?
Yeah.
It depends.
Yes.
Right now,
Yes.
no. Right?
Yes.
You know what
Right
I'm
now,
saying?
no.
Right now,
Yes.
right now,
Yes.
no. Okay. Um, let's see life insurance. Life insurance, is it safe? It's
Yeah.
safe.
Yeah.
Nobody's lost money in life insurance.
Yeah.
Okay. And then let's look at real estate. Is real estate safe? Maybe.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not an absolute yes.
You're right.
Okay. The next is it a good rate of return?
Okay.
Okay. Are stocks a good rate of return? They could be.
Could be.
Could be. Life insurance is a good rate of return?
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. Here's the thing about life insurance. You never lose money. When the market goes down, you never lose money. You may not make any, but you won't lose any. It's always creating a new principal.
Wow.
Always. And the power of compound interest is always at work.
Okay.
Let's ask that same question of real estate. Can you lose money in real estate?
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
I can bear witness. Okay.
Right. Right.
There are so many gurus and internet people out here like, oh my God, like real estate is the end all to be all. While
Mm-hmm.
I believe that you should have some portion of your wealth in real estate, do not hang your hat on the fact that it's a guarantee,
Okay.
because it's not,
Right.
especially when you don't know what you're doing. Okay.
Right. Right.
And then the last thing is liquidity.
Liquidity. Yeah.
Liquidity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it liquid? Are stocks liquid? It it it,
Could.
it could be, because once
Uh,
you sell the stock,
yeah.
you're liquid,
Yeah.
right? However, when you actually need it, you could be selling it for less than what you bought it for.
Yeah. So then it's kind of like, yeah, no benefit.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly,
Of
right?
being liquid. Yes.
With life insurance, you're liquid. You're liquid. All you got to do is call up the insurance company. If the money's in there, if the cash value is in there, they'll send you the money in 24 to 48 hours. Okay? So you're liquid.
Okay.
Real estate, are you liquid?
No.
No, no. Because even if you had money inside your property, you better have some good credit just to get it out. Okay?
Yeah.
And you also have to hope that you have some equity in the property
Yeah.
in order to get something out.
Mm-hmm.
So, so with all three of those, life insurance passes all of that. All of that for me. So that's the reason why I'm so heavy in the majority of my assets or my wealth being poured into life insurance, but again, still diversifying.
Okay. Okay. Makes sense. Um, I guess it's a two-part question. Um, what what type of what okay, let me ask this one first. When is a good time to to establish a relationship with someone like yourself? Is it when I'm 20, 12, 40, when I'm rich, when I'm trying to get rich? Is it something I could put my daughter onto and she's 12? Like what is it? When is a good time to start having conversations with someone who has the wisdom and experience that you have?
Yeah, when you come out the womb. Um, like,
Okay.
literally coming out the womb.
Okay.
So would I say that this product is for everyone? I would say it's for most people. Okay.
Okay.
However, for those that are young, especially, there are something that's called a 529 plan. Have you heard
Yeah.
of those before?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
College. Yes.
they're very popular. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
So parents will get these for their children so that
Yes.
once college time comes, their child has this money for school. Okay.
Yes.
But
Yes.
they can only spend it for college.
Yes.
The only part to that is that more and more young adults are choosing not to go to college because they can become with shoot the internet right now, social media. Some of these kids are making millions of dollars being 12
Yeah.
because of social media, and they see no need in going to college
Right.
because they're now entrepreneurs. And
Right.
so that 529 is now a waste of money.
Okay.
However, if instead of putting the money in a 529 and they put it inside of this insurance policy and let the compound interest build up, by the time they become 18 or 19 and it's time for them to either go to college or travel around Europe or do whatever they want to do, the money is there to be
Oh,
able to
okay.
do whatever they want to do.
Wow. Okay.
And on top of that, by the time they reach retirement age, they would have $1 million inside that policy.
Wow.
It's incredible, but that's not something that a 529 could not offer them. So while other people at the age of 65, their peers would be trying to pull from their 401k, which they'll probably end up outliving their 401k if there's anything in there to begin with, if the stock market hasn't fallen so much,
Right.
right?
Right.
And also, their peers are going to have to pay taxes on their 401k, okay? Which is
Hmm.
going to be humongous because we know taxes are going to go up. They have to.
Yes. Yes.
And so your child would end up with would have this $1 million in a policy that's tax free. that they
Wow.
literally withdraw from tax free. And so that's the beauty of starting so early and out the womb. Now, people that have, like I said, young adults or people themselves, I always tell people that we need to fix the way we budget. Okay. We as Americans, we don't have an issue with making more money. I believe that wholeheartedly. There's so many different ways to make money. It doesn't make sense. Okay. If we don't want to make money in these days, we lack the either the ambition or just the education, which is this is why this podcast is so perfect, right?
Yes.
Um, but what we have a problem with is how we save and how we spend our money.
Mhm.
We have a spending problem and we have a saving problem because we don't know where to save our money and we're spending our money on stupid stuff that doesn't bring us any return at all. Okay.
Mhm.
So I tell people all the time to pay yourself first.
Okay. What is that? And what is that? And I know what that means, but what does that mean in the sense of, is it a certain percent? Is it regardless of, is it a certain percent? What do you mean? What does that mean to you exactly?
Absolutely. Thank you for asking that. It means paying myself 10%, like
Of whatever you make, whatever
of
you brought
whatever
in.
I make.
Okay.
Of whatever I make. And if you're a person that, if you're religious and based on your religion, you
Mhm.
also have to give 10%, not
Mhm.
have to, but want to.
Right.
Let me say
Right.
that. But you want to give 10% to your church or something. That's already 20%. It's
Mhm.
already 20%. That's coming off the top.
Mhm.
You are the first temple that gets paid.
Yes.
Your church is the second.
Mhm.
Okay, like let me make that very clear.
Yeah.
You first, then the church. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
and people could debate me on that all they want to. Okay, but
Okay.
this is just my philosophy. Okay,
Yes. Yes.
um, and then after that, you want to have money that you can save for yourself, that you can give, and then everything else it's up for grabs, right? I
Mhm.
always tell people though, they're only 30% should go toward housing. Only 30% should go towards housing. But what we're doing is we're spending 60%, 70% on on where we live.
Mhm.
And so we don't have room to save. So when people are
Mhm.
like, oh, well, how can I save? Pay myself first 10% because I got to pay these bills first.
Mhm.
Well, you kind of put yourself in a position where you had to do that
Okay.
versus understanding that the first 20% of what I make goes to me and again the church or God or however you want to look at that.
Right.
So that's what
Right.
that means for me.
Right. Ah, okay. Okay. Um, so the people that come to you, what on average, what type of shape are they in? Mentally, financially, and I mean mentally, like their level of knowledge as
Hmm.
far as what you're talking about. What is the average person like? What type of shape are they in when they come to you?
Yeah, it's interesting. So I have a different type of clientele. Well, my clientele varies.
Okay.
So I'm real big on like manifestation and stuff like that. And remember, I'm a person that I had obtained a certain level of wealth, right? So I
Yes.
understand that space, and so most of my clients are high net worth individuals to begin with.
Okay.
Okay. So they're in a space where I have money, just don't know what to do with it, or they actually look at the fees in their brokerage account and they say, "Oh, snap. Like I'm paying a lot in fees. How do
Right.
I get out of this?" Okay?
Right.
Because
Right.
what a lot of people don't realize is and I love coming across people that are like, my broker said,
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
it's
Okay.
just like-
Okay.
and it's like your broker literally still gets paid whether you make or lose money.
Mhm.
Whether you make or lose money, your broker still gets paid at the end of
Mm-hmm.
the day. Me, myself, as a financial professional, I get paid one time, okay, for just setting up the policy for you.
Okay.
The broker, he or she gets paid for managing the portfolio. And they don't do much managing. There's a computer that does that, okay? But they get paid consistently. And so what you're paying in brokerage fees is enormous compared to what the cost of a life insurance policy will end up costing you. Okay.
Okay.
So to go back to your question, like what kind of shape they're now, I do have some some like just middle class, regular um people that they come to me, they might be able to, save couple of $100 a month, stuff like that. And we start them out with small policies because they need to start somewhere, right?
Yes.
We don't
Yes.
think that I am not of the belief that um people need to be turned away,
Mm-hmm.
people need to start a discipline of saving. Because remember,
Okay.
I told you that day that I met the guy in the hotel, right?
Yes.
And I was still working that $10.25 job. So I didn't have $1,000 that I can put into a policy. All I had was $125. That's all, and I still have that policy to this day. I will, ne-
Wow.
I will never let that policy go because it's always a reminder
Yeah.
of where I came from. I
Yes.
since have close to six policies that I own. Okay,
Right.
six of these types of policies that I own because they all have a different function. That
Mm.
first one, that's just my starter policy. At this point, it's just a death benefit.
Right.
Whatever
Right.
we do it, we do it. Okay.
Right. Right. Right.
Um, the second one is I never worked a real like that customer service job, well, I think they offered like some little 401k or whatever, but they didn't match, so I didn't participate. And so I don't have uh retirement. So I have one that's strictly for my retirement.
Okay.
And then I have another one that's strictly for my real estate investing. That's what I
Okay.
use for the hard money lending. That's what I
Okay.
use for the glamping community because I don't
Okay.
want those two buckets mixing.
Yes.
Okay. Um, and so I don't know if I answered your question or not.
I forgot what my question was.
It was about what shape are the people in? What shape are
Yes.
they?
Yeah.
So they're all
Yeah.
they're really all over the place. But the conversation that we're going to have always is where is your money at?
Okay.
Where are you spending it? Because
Yes.
we got to fix the spending habits. One, because I don't want you doing a chargeback on me. So if if you
Mhm.
can't, if you are not used to saving $200 a month, why are we doing this?
Right.
Why are we doing this? Now, if you're used to saving $200 a month inside of a bank account, and you're like, okay, well now I'm not going to save it in a bank account because it makes no sense why somebody would put money inside of a savings account at this point. Simply because the money sitting in a savings account cannot keep up with inflation.
Mhm.
It just cannot. Would you
Mhm.
agree that the price that you paid for eggs this time last year is very different?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything almost. Toothpaste,
Everything.
deodorant. I'm in Target. Like, wait a minute. Is it the same? Yeah. And didn't it get smaller? I guess that's what I'm
Right.
trying to
And
say.
it got smaller. And
It
it
got
got
smaller.
smaller.
Yes. I'm like, you robbing me to my face.
Exactly. Lucky.
Yes.
I went to the Cheesecake Factory the other day. I hadn't been in a while. And I go to the Cheesecake Factory and I order, I always get the plain with the strawberries on it. The
Okay.
strawberry. And
Yeah.
I got this little bitty cheesecake. And I'm like, and it was more expensive. How is it more expensive and the slice was smaller? That's that inflation, right?
Yeah. Yeah. They'll look you dead in the eye too. Like, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there, this is, I don't know. I'm a, this will be my, rapper's reference.
Okay.
Is it really, do rich people have more problems than poor people? What are, as far as like when people are coming to you with different levels of wealth, are they, do they have different types of problems or concerns, or I don't know. Are they is it different? Are there differences?
Um, they are, the similarity is that none of them want to run out of money.
Okay.
And so their issues, their underlying issue, everyone's underlying issue is all the same. I
Okay.
don't want to run out of money. When
Okay.
when it comes time for me to get older, will I have money?
Okay.
And so whether a person, makes $40,000 a year or they make a couple of million a year,
Okay.
what's that thing that's going to sustain me and make sure that
Okay.
I have wealth until I pass away?
Okay.
Now, the only issue with high net worth individuals is that there's more people in their ear telling them different strategies, and so they're a lot more confused.
Okay.
Those that, let's just say, only make $40,000 a year, it ain't a whole lot of people talking to them in a year. You have
Yeah.
nothing to move around. You know
Right.
what I'm
At
saying?
all.
At all.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's so it's easier for them to make decisions though.
Okay. Okay.
For a high net worth person, it's harder for them to make a decision because, oh, well, my broker said this, or my CPA said this. And it's so many different schools of thought when it comes to money. I say this to people all the time. There's some people that are vegans, right? Got a
Okay.
lot of, are you vegan?
No.
Oh, okay.
I
Yeah.
have been before in life.
You
Early in
have.
my mid 20s, yeah, for about 3 years, just to try it out.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, for
Yeah.
3 years. So you,
Yeah.
wait,
In
now,
LA, it's easy. In LA, it's easy.
oh, is it? Okay.
In LA, yeah, in LA, yeah, man, we got, man. Oh man, you can have the best food you couldn't believe was vegan because everything is, we're so vain in Southern California. So
Mm.
you'll do anything to stay looking like you 25, to stay looking like you weigh this, to stay looking like you. So whether it's cosmetics, food, surgeries, diets. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow. Okay. I feel like Atlanta's like that now because
Okay.
Atlanta, you can definitely, like, Atlanta is definitely the new Hollywood.
Okay.
Like, even as far as like housing and,
Mhm.
food, all of that,
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
surgeries. Yes, I
Mhm.
get exactly where you're coming from with that.
Yeah.
This one eye has been watering all like, it's so annoying. I apologize for that.
Oh, okay. It's okay.
But gosh, what was the question?
You said it was like, you said you compare it to being like a vegan.
Oh, yes, like a vegan. Okay.
Mhm.
So, there's so much data. There's so many doctors that talk about the benefits of being vegan, right?
Okay.
And
Mhm.
having a plant-based diet.
Mhm.
However, there's just as many physicians and
Mhm.
scientists that
Mhm.
talk about the benefits of being a carnivore.
Mhm.
I don't know if you've heard the science behind being a carnivore.
Oh yeah, Mark Palladino and a lot of them. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. And was it Anthony Chafee? Yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh, there's so
I've
many.
done that too.
Listen, I tried that. It was the hardest thing in my life. And I love meat. I love meat. But it was so hard because that's all you eat is meat. Like,
That's
I
it.
kept
You just chewing
chewing.
just for
Right.
days. Every meal, you just like, you need some ice on your cheeks. You be like, oh God, I'm hurt. Yeah. No, it just seems like you're constantly chewing. Yes,
Exactly.
yes, yes,
So it
yes.
was
That's
just
what
a
I'm saying.
lot. It was like, I'm like, I
Yeah,
can't have no green, like I
yeah,
can't have no vegetables. Can I get something else
yeah,
with this meat? So
yeah,
it's very difficult, okay?
yeah,
But so is being a vegan. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like, they
yeah.
both have their levels, but my point is that they both have a science
Hmm.
behind them. They
Hmm.
both have professionals that
Hmm.
are screaming at the top of their lungs, like, do this, this is gonna save your life, right?
Hmm.
But
Mhm.
that's the same way in the financial service space as well.
Okay.
There are different schools of thought. There are people that are going to say, don't you get an IUL? The IUL is the devil. It's awful. Only invest in the stock market, blah, blah. There are different schools of thoughts, and you're going to hear people say different stuff about
Mhm.
everything. And
Mhm.
so that's what makes it difficult when you have the high net worth people, because again, they're trying to figure out who it is that who and what should they believe.
Okay. Um, oh, I had one question I was going to ask you, and I was writing down another one, and then it's not lost them both. So, okay, what is so in your experience, what is it people are just on average? What do people just misunderstand, or maybe it's a common ignorance just about money? Whether it's saving or not to say, like, what is it, whether it's people you work with directly or just your knowledge of the financial space, what is it that people who come to a finance person in that sector, what is it that just the average person just doesn't understand about money, like you said, how to spend it, how to save it, just they just don't understand? What is it, what are some of the things that people just don't get?
My favorite one that I love to talk about is the opportunity cost behind money.
Okay.
The opportunity. If you can understand, so I'll probably tell you a couple.
Okay.
One is the opportunity cost.
Okay.
Consider what the opportunity costs behind every purchase you make. Okay. Now, Lucky, you mentioned to me that you played pro ball, right?
Yes.
Excuse me. I look at my money kind of like kind of like a basketball team, right?
Okay.
All right. So you got players on the team, you got your shooters, you got your small forwards,
Mm.
you got your center, you got everybody has a function,
Yes.
right? Everybody has a function. You got some folks that are sitting on the bench waiting to go in,
Yeah.
okay? But they're
Yeah.
just sitting there waiting to
Yeah.
go in, okay?
Yes.
And they're cheering the other players on in the game, okay? But what would happen if some of the players on the bench went to the concession stand and never came back?
Yeah, that wouldn't be good.
They could never get in the game.
Right.
They couldn't ever get in the game to score. They could never be a player in getting the team to the championship.
Correct.
And what I mean, the reason why I look at it that way is because my money is a team.
Okay.
They are my teammates. If
Hmm.
I have $1, it better go out there. Its whole purpose is to work for me, run up and down that court,
Play hard.
score,
Better play
play
hard.
hard. You know what I'm saying? Score some baskets.
That's
Okay.
it.
Get me to the championship.
Yes.
Okay. But
Yes.
I look at it as duplicate yourself. I'm
Okay.
sending you out so that you can go and bring back 5 of them that look just like you.
Okay. Okay.
So, however, that one piece of money, or the person that was on the bench and decided to go to the concession stand, that's that dollar that you decided to eat and go to brunch with
Hmm.
and have an appetizer, have
Hmm.
the unlimited mimosa,
Hmm.
all of that, and end up spending $125 for one person on brunch.
Hmm.
That money literally cannot make you any more money.
Hmm.
You just ate it. You just
Hmm.
ate it only to piss it away.
Hmm.
And so your money literally stops growing. And so, was that a good opportunity cost?
No.
Now, we can save up for it, we can budget for it. I'm not saying
Yeah.
that we shouldn't go to brunch. I love
Hmm.
brunch,
Hmm.
but I just budget to go to brunch.
Hmm.
Because if I don't have money working for me and I'm still brunching, you a fool.
Hmm. Right. Right.
And I hate to put it that way, but that's what I do. So that's one. Understanding the opportunity cost. So especially when it comes to paying down debt. Does it make sense for, if I got a large sum of money, I ask people this all the time. If you were to get $100,000, right? And you had $30,000 worth of debt, what would you do with that $100,000? And most people say, oh, I would take $30,000 of it and I would pay off my debt. Really? Why? Based on what? And they'll start listing. Oh, so this and that, and so I'll be debt free, and blah blah blah, woo woo woo. So now you no longer have $100,000. You now have 70. Okay. And let's just say an opportunity came up. Let's just say in Dubai. So my husband and I, we at the end of this month we're going to Dubai for several reasons. One, we're putting a down payment down on a property out there, and two,
Wow.
our son is getting married. Okay,
Okay.
and so but the down payment is $100,000.
Okay.
Now, if the down payment is $100,000, but if I had spent 30,000 of it paying
Right.
off $30,000 worth of debt,
Right.
I could no longer participate in that opportunity
Right.
because my money is now tied up into this debt. That debt was only costing me per month maybe $400.
Okay. Okay. See what you're saying.
So the opportunity cost doesn't make
Mhm.
sense. I have an
Mhm.
opportunity here to turn that $100,000 into $250,000.
Mhm.
Now it's not so bad if I take $30,000 of the additional 150 I
The
just made
250. Yeah, the 150. Yeah. Yes.
to now pay off the 30,000.
Yes.
Again,
Okay.
that goes to understanding how I am going to have my money make money so that I can then pay off the debt.
Okay. Makes sense.
Because once I pay off the debt, that money is dead. It's
Yeah.
done.
You never get it back. Yeah. No work. Went to the snack bar.
Right, exactly. And then the other thing I want to mention is right, the snack bar. The other thing that I want to mention is compound interest.
Mhm.
Understanding compound interest.
Eighth wonder of the world.
Eighth wonder of the world. The eighth wonder of the world. If you don't understand compound interest, it is going to be used against you. And it
Mhm.
does. For most Americans, compound interest is being used against us. One, again, with debt. The way our debt and the cost of debt compounds against us is incredible. But we have to understand how to offset that. That's the
Mhm.
reason why I would not use that $100,000 to pay off that debt. I would use it to figure out how to compound it more so to be able to offset the compound interest that's working against me.
Okay.
So that's where life insurance comes in because it is always compounding. You know what does not compound? The stock market and real estate. Com- Stock market never gives you a new principal, ever. You never get a new principal. But with life insurance, you always get a new principal that you build upon.
Ah.
Always. Real estate does not give you a new principal. Equity is relative. It's
Yeah.
relative.
Yeah. Yeah. That is true.
It's
Yeah.
relative. People will brag about the fact, and this is a little hack I'm gonna tell you. People brag about the fact that, oh, I have $100,000 worth of equity in my property. What are we
Mhm.
bragging about that for? That's all make believe money.
Mhm.
It's only make believe until you make it real.
Mhm.
Well, Auntie Shakey, how you make it real? You got to
Mhm.
pull it out of the house in form of a HELOC.
Mhm.
Get yourself pull whatever equity you have in your property, especially right now. And don't let some loan officer talk to you about some sort of refinance because a refinance does not make sense. You also
So
have to,
what is the difference between the HELOC and the refinance when you say it
oh,
doesn't make sense?
oh gosh, do we have time? No. Do we even have time?
Yeah.
I'll say this quickly
Okay.
because it's a very easy explanation. This is the reason why I say that understanding money is so important, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because it will help us in making different decisions and how we move, okay? So, understanding different types of interest, okay? So, we have simple interest and we have amortized interest,
Mm-hmm.
okay? Now, simple interest is like your credit cards, okay? They're your lines of credit, that sort of thing, okay? That's simple interest. And then you have the amortized, which is that funny math.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If anybody's ever closed on a house, okay?
Mm-hmm.
If you've ever closed on a house, when you get to the closing table, the attorney always shows you, like, oh, okay, well, this is how much your loan amount is for. And after 30 years of making these payments, this is now how much you would have paid for this house.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost about 8 to 10 times more
Mm-hmm.
than what you paid for the house.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane. And nobody can do the math on an amortized loan. I am a licensed realtor, and
Mm-hmm.
as a licensed realtor, I cannot do the equation for amortized loan. It is not meant for us to understand. But with the simple interest, it's simple.
Mm-hmm.
If my interest is 10%, okay, I know at the end of the year, I'm going to be charged 10%
Mm-hmm.
on this. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Right.
We
Right.
can do this equation simply. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So So to ask you about the refi, right? So the refinance is basically you're starting the amortized journey all over again. So you're
Mm-hmm.
pulling out that equity, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But really, it's just going on the back end of the
Back
mortgage,
in. Yeah.
going back into that funny math cycle. Why would we want to get back in the funny math cycle?
Mm-hmm.
With a HELOC, though, I have a certain amount of equity.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to pull that equity out and it's going to be in a line of credit as
Mm-hmm.
a simple interest loan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Which means this. Oh, this is what's so exciting about a HELOC.
Yes.
With with the refinance, let's just say they gave you, we're going to talk the same. Let's just say they gave you $100,000 from the refinance.
Okay.
Okay. So now you have $100,000. Once you spent that $100,000, just to say you use that $100,000 to get you a brand new kitchen. Okay, this kitchen is fabulous. Okay,
Yeah.
and you also used it to pay off some debt, and you used it to, take a trip to Italy. Let's just
Okay.
say. Okay, now the money's gone. Okay, maybe you kept the 10,000 in the bank. Okay, fine. The money's gone though, and so is your equity. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
However, with a HELOC, it works like this: that same $100, but now it's a line of credit. Okay. And so you still get that beautiful kitchen, right? But you're also earning money. So the money that you earn, you're putting it on the HELOC and you're driving that credit limit back up. Okay. So now you have even more money to be able to pull from. So literally with the HELOC, you can run it up, pay it down, run it up, pay it down for most times 10 years. They give you the
Wow.
ability to do that.
Okay.
So again, remember we talk about opportunity costs, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
we have now an opportunity to use the same $100,000 over and over and over again.
Hmm.
It's a beautiful product.
Wow.
But you cannot do that with a refinance.
Mm-hmm.
And so again, it's just understanding how money works. And then, yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, I want you to.
I was going to say, but I probably shouldn't say it here, but there are times where you have a significant amount of money inside of your HELOC that maybe you want to use and leverage it inside of your insurance policy.
Uh,
I mean, it's this is what some people do. This is not what I'm saying this is what some people do. Me as
yes,
a professional, I'm not
yes,
telling you to do it. I'm just
yes,
saying this is what some people do.
yes. Wow. Okay. Wow. How so? So so the guy stands up at the front of the hotel room, and you're saying, "Where have you been all my life, or at least the last 4 years?"
Exactly.
Right? How long? What was? It's kind of like through. It's kind of like a two-part question. It's like, what was your journey to get to where you are now? So you're standing up here and you're saying, "Oh wow, I didn't know this financial vehicle was available." And what was your journey to what was your journey to learn about money so that your life is different now than it was before? Because
Yeah.
it seems like that's a journey you went on for your own reason. But what was that journey like for you? What did you go through? What did you study? What was that like for you? That journey?
Yeah, that journey was so interesting, and and thank you for that question. It was very introspective. It was very like, how did I get here? Because especially seeing as though I came from a middle class family, I don't have that story of I got it from the mud, like
Right,
I
right,
don't
right, right,
have that. Okay,
right,
and let me be clear, not every black family has that story, right?
right, right.
But we all have our own level of things that we have to overcome, right?
Hmm.
Um, yeah, despite whether or not you came from poverty or middle class, we all have our issues. So there was a lot of shame and guilt that I had to overcome. Like, what was I doing this for? And then how do I do this again, but be on a solid foundation? And so
Hmm.
I began reading books like The Millionaire Next Door. If y'all
Hmm.
haven't read The Millionaire
Yeah,
Next Door, is
great book. Yeah,
phenomenal.
great book. Great book.
Reading books by Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad was pivotal for me of really understanding money. Because if somebody understands money, Robert Kiyosaki definitely uh, does. His political views are a little interesting, but
Yeah.
he definitely he definitely understands money, right? Um, and then just really immersing myself in the insurance space and how it works. So just, watching my mentors. One of my mentors is Doug Andrew, and you can find him on YouTube, and he's just a an incredible wealth of knowledge and just so smart. So I just kept like just listening to these people over and over again, even when I had nothing. Like again, just every year maybe they would give me an additional quarter. You know what I'm saying? But I'll get a little bit richer to the point where I did create myself a position, and I got paid a little bit more money, and I think that's how I got trapped there for 9 years. Lucky it was awful. I got trapped. I did, but that's what they do. They trap
Yeah.
you, and they
Yeah.
make you feel as though you have no other choices but them.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
But because I just kept reading and I kept believing in myself, like I knew if I did it once, I could do it again. I
Okay.
knew that. I
Okay.
knew that wholeheartedly. I knew that what that man said in the front of the room, and the type of money that that man was making, and the type of money that he was saving, and what he was able to do for his family, I knew that I could create that same thing for my family.
Mm.
And I would do whatever it took to rebuild. It's interesting that, people say that a setback is only a setup for a comeback.
Mm-hmm.
Lucky, my comeback is strong. Like
Okay.
my comeback
Okay.
game is strong. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
but it is built on a solid foundation now, where my husband and I, our assets, and even being able to say out loud that, we're going to Dubai, and, being able to put down a down payment on a property there is something that I knew that I was going to, how some people like, I would have never imagined that. I imagined it.
You're like, yeah, that was me. Yeah. That was
I
it. Yeah.
imagined it. I imagined it. And it's happening.
Wow.
So,
So
yeah.
along your journey, like when I'm working with people, I'm always like, my job is to lead you back to you, right? Is to help you, is to give you information that you can see yourself in for you to develop your own way of owning it, right? Making it something you can understand and apply so that it makes complete sense to you, right?
Hmm.
So along your journey, all these things that you learned and things like that, what are some I don't know if you want to call them aphorisms or just your own personal, sayings that you've kind of come up with in your mind that is kind of like that represents you making the knowledge the knowledge in your financial space, making this knowledge your own. Some sayings or beliefs or philosophies that reflect or represent you making this knowledge your own.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I have got to get some tissue.
Okay, go for it. I'm here.
Give me
Yeah,
1 second.
go for it. Okay.
This audio is going to be so interesting because it's going to hear me sniffling and all
No,
types of.
it's okay. No, this is it. This is like I said, this is the Walmart podcast. This is for everybody in overalls and Crocs and everything.
Okay,
Yes.
exactly. Um, but oh my goodness, I would. You should have seen. I don't have it now because once you start making some money, then it's like, okay, you want your place to look a certain way, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
but there was a time I had brown paper bags, and I would, lucky no lie, you have to see this. One day you'll see this picture, but there's a
Okay.
picture of me digging in the trash, okay?
Hmm.
Digging for coupons, okay?
Okay.
Because we were that broke that
Yeah.
I had to literally dig for dollars just so
Yeah.
that we could eat, okay? But I had these brown paper bags because, people throw those away, and I
Yeah.
had them painted up, and I would write these confessions on
Okay.
on the brown paper bag. And
Okay.
the constant confession was, money finds me, money chases me, like chases me down. I will never be broke another day in my life. you know I understand how money moves, and I move money. I am the creator of my wealth. And like, this was just like constant everywhere. And I would
Hmm.
just look at, first of all, I don't lack confidence. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
so,
There you go.
so I would just look in the mirror and know that I know in my knower.
Okay.
I just knew in my knower that
Hmm.
I was going to be successful. I knew in my knower that what I had as a product, or as a vehicle for me to get wealth, that I knew it was something that can help so many people.
Hmm.
And so even above that now, I'm an educator. I am
Hmm.
a I'm a person that helps people to grow six-figure financial service businesses. Like, all of that came out of a knowing that this was what life was going to be like for me. I think it's Neil Davis that says it either had to work or it had to work.
Hmm.
There aren't any other options. And I think that people often leave the door open for there to be an option of failure. I just didn't
Hmm.
have one.
Hmm.
I just didn't have one. And so I knew in order for me to be successful, I had to read a lot. I had to listen a lot. Um, I don't watch a whole lot of, TV. I got books for days. Like
Mm-hmm.
I consume this stuff. I
Mm-hmm.
consume it. So yeah.
Wow. 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 Okay. Man, that's wow. Okay. Um, so so now that so what is your I don't want to say your for lack of better words, what is your what's next for you? Is there an end goal? Is there a now you're gonna start something else, or is something gonna flow out of this, or what's next for you? What's on the horizon? What is your vision on? What is
Yeah. So that's a great question. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna
okay?
be real transparent with you.
Okay.
My
Okay.
my next what do you call it? Graduation. I feel like
Okay.
this is a graduation. My next graduation is to be a grandmother. That that is
Okay.
my
Okay.
that is my graduation.
Okay.
But not just any type of grandmother, but a grandmother that is able to have her grandchildren be able to move across the country. I told you my son plays professional ball, right? So
Yes.
eh, while he's in Bahrain this year, we don't know where he's going to be next year, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
he gets married he gets married in June, okay?
Okay.
And his wife, or his soon to be wife, she lives in Dubai. She's a citizen of Dubai. And so they're going to spend a lot of time there. Well, in order for me to see my grandbabies, who got to spend some time there too?
I got to go to Dubai. That's it.
I got to
Okay.
go to Dubai,
You got to get that
right?
property. Okay. There you go.
Exactly.
There you go. Got to have
Exactly.
somewhere to stay.
Gotta
That's
have
it.
some place to stay,
Yeah, they
right?
can't kick you out of there. They can't kick you out.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but in order for me to do that, I have to have a business and I have to have investments that can sustain that type of lifestyle.
Absolutely.
So my goal right now is just building a large financial service company. So that's what
Okay.
I'm doing right now. Earlier this year, well, actually, it wasn't earlier this year. It was just March. Actually, we're in April now. Yeah, so it was last month. I picked up everything, went by myself, went to Dubai by myself. Now, the only person at this point that I know in Dubai is my son's future wife, which I had never met before until I went there. But I picked up everything and I went in search of how do they do money? How does money work in Dubai? How do they
Mm,
pass on wealth?
mm,
How do they create wealth? And
mm,
it fascinated me. And us
mm,
as American with our privileged selves,
mm,
the fact that, we have all of this freedom, our freedom is literally keeping us poor.
mm,
It is literally our the fact that we can choose to leave a legacy for our family or not is probably to our detriment.
mm.
It should be lawful, like it should be a law on the books that we leave something behind for our family.
Mm.
But there is absolutely no shame at all for us Americans when we
Leave
don't leave
nothing.
behind nothing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that to me, so when you say what's next is to build something that is so sustainable, that provides me with the passive income
Mhm.
and the type of wealth so that I can move about this country and be the best grandmother that I can be, the best
Mm,
support, right? And again, I want to be able to teach other women, other men how to use money. I told you I'm an educator. So I teach money concepts in this one program, and I I want to continue to teach people so that they can understand how money works because they're not going to learn it in school.
yeah.
They're not going to learn it in school. So that's what people can count on me for, all while, maybe bouncing a baby,
Yeah, 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 yeah. Wow,
So, yeah.
wow. Okay, I don't want to hold you too much longer. Um, so speaking of that, being a grandmother, teaching a young person, if you had, if you when you become a grandmother, or if you, with the knowledge you have now,
Hmm.
with if you had your son and he was young, he was 3, 4, 5, 6 years old, what what type of um what type of things would you introduce as far as learning money? What type of things would you introduce to him at a young age? How would you start his knowledge of money? How would you start a young person's knowledge of money, and like you said, how it really works, how it moves, and how it talks and things like that?
Yeah, yeah. I would definitely, and I feel like I did again, to answer your question, I would relate everything in life to money, everything, whether it be water. I just came back from Sedona, Arizona, and it was
Mm-hmm.
absolutely beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely beautiful. Have you been? Have you been to
No, I
Sedona?
have not been to Sedona.
You'd have to go. Oh my gosh, you have to go to Sedona.
Yeah.
Um, it was one of the most challenging things because we did some rock climbing, some mountain
Mm.
climbing,
Yeah, Arizona.
and I didn't think that I could climb these mountains, but I
Yeah.
did it.
Okay.
I did
Okay.
it. Okay. And but every experience that we would have, I would somehow relate it to money.
Okay.
Like even, sometimes we would have to cross these creeks, and the way the river flows, right? It's flowing naturally. It's a un it's an unforced rhythm. Put your money in a way where there's an unforced rhythm in it
Mm.
growing. Okay?
Mm.
We don't, even when sports, I brought up that sports analogy
Mm.
earlier,
Mm.
doing things like that so that they understand the importance of money. And I would never put in his head, because I know that I did that. I believe he's grown out of it now, but I would have never put in his head that there's a shortage on money.
Mm.
And I think we often do that.
Mm.
We often, because of our lack or our situation, stuff like that. And people say, money doesn't grow on trees. Well, actually, it does.
Mm.
Money is actually a whole tree.
Yeah.
It's a whole tree, because you think about the dollar bill, right? The dollar bill is made out of paper. Where does the paper come from?
Tree.
The tree. so money does grow on trees.
Literally a tree.
Literally a tree.
Right. Right.
Okay?
Right.
So I wouldn't ever, I really want our young people, and I want our parents, our young parents, to put as much money into their children rather than putting it on their body.
Into the children, meaning like
In,
education.
into, I wouldn't even say necessarily their education, but their future.
Okay.
So, like a life insurance
Okay.
policy,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Especially seeing as though that one of the things that I don't think people understand, and I'll get back to your question real quick, but because of the pandemic, or during the pandemic, a lot of our kids were not used to being at home.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of them just got sad because they missed their friends and they couldn't go
Mm-hmm.
outside and all this other kind of stuff. So many of them started going to see a therapist.
Mm-hmm.
So now the insurance companies are denying these young people life insurance because they're seeing
Really?
therapists. Because they're seeing
Wow.
therapists. Now, Lucky, here's what's interesting about that. If their parent had started a policy for them at a very young age, it doesn't matter what would have happened to them along the way. They would have always had a policy that is theirs, that could never be taken away. They could never be taken away. But now we're struggling with the fact of just getting some of these young people life insurance.
Wow.
It's just, you know, that's what I'm saying, that one of the things that I would do early on is just putting myself. Now, I did start him one of these policies when he was 18. He's 27 now. Lucky, I cannot wait to present to him on his wedding day his policy. He doesn't even know I have it.
Oh, wow.
But it has, it's amassed a good amount of cash accumulation. And
Yeah.
I can pass it over to him and say, this is yours.
Yeah.
Because now you gotta pay for it. Like,
Yeah.
like if
This
I'm
is
gonna give it
yours.
to you, go.
And here's this other. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Monthly little. Yeah. Yeah.
But there's plenty of money inside of it for him to start his new family with,
Right. Wow.
if he
Right.
wants to continue. But just imagine if every parent did that for their kid
Do that. Yeah.
and gave it to them once they started having kids of their own. Because at this point, I don't need to be his beneficiary anymore. I don't need
Right.
to be the owner. He now will have his own family
Right.
that needs to be a beneficiary.
Right.
So, yeah, that's, this thing with money, I would just get some coaches. I think us as parents, we need money coaches, just so that we can teach our kids. We can't teach our kids what we don't know.
Right.
I'm going to teach you exactly what they taught me in school. And what they taught me in school was so that they could control me.
Right.
We all bought into the lie that the 401k was there to benefit us. We
Yeah.
all bought into that. And many of us have these 401ks that are performing poorly and that are expensive. And one day we're going to have to pay a ton of taxes on them. And we are going to outlive our money. What happens next? What do we do next? Go apply at Walmart? I, it's just those sort of things. I sit down, especially with my high net worth clients that have 401ks, and I say, okay, tell me how this makes sense. Let's just walk through the math. Let's just think about this. We say that the government has a conspiracy of everything. I'm not taking the vaccine because it's a conspiracy. I'm not doing this because it's a conspiracy. But we gonna trust them with our retirement? Oh, that's the one thing we want to trust them with. So,
Right.
so it's,
Right. Yeah, you're right. Right.
let's talk about it. Why are we saying, as a farmer, that I want to get paid, that I want to pay taxes on my harvest versus my seed? They made it sound like it's better to be taxed on your harvest. Lucky, have you ever planted something before?
Nope.
You never planted anything. Okay, but just imagine a seed. Have you seen a seed before?
Yeah. Yes.
You've seen a seed, right?
Yes.
What does a seed typically turn into?
A plant or something, right?
Something of its kind, right?
Yes. Yes.
Something of its kind,
Yes.
but even bigger.
Yes.
Okay. So if you know that the seed is going to grow into something bigger, would you rather those taxes be paid on the seed or on the something bigger?
On the seed.
On the seed, for sure. On the seed, for sure. But because they're deferring our taxes, you now have to pay taxes on the harvest.
So they made more money.
What are we doing? Why? And again, the fees that are associated with it, and it's inside of a stock market. Lucky, let me tell you, I know that this wasn't the question you asked, but I just have to say this real quick.
Yeah.
In 2022, I had a client that came to me. He retired in December of 2021. He was so excited. He retired with $1 million in his 401k. Okay. In October, he came to me. He said, Shakey, I need help. I need help. I said, what's going on? I looked at his portfolio. The stock market had went down 24% that year at that point of the year. Okay. So he had lost 24% of his retirement. What's 24% of $1 million?
240.
$240,000, Lucky. $240,000. What do you do? Do you know how many
Go
years of
looking for
income?
somebody.
Exactly. Do you know how many years of income $240,000 is?
For most people, about what, about 6?
At least in retirement, because you figure in retirement, your home should be kind of paid off,
Yeah.
your cars should be paid off, your lifestyle should be less than when you
Yeah.
were working. Okay.
Yes.
So at least 4 to 6 years. Okay.
Mhm.
He now has to go back to work
Really?
just to make that up because all of his retirement is in the stock market. He said, I got to make the bleed stop. The bleed has to stop. So, okay. So we restructured him into an annuity. And thankfully, that's, helping him and growing his money back, or at
Recover.
least, saving him. But again, to answer your question, just really sitting them down and getting with people and reading books at an early age, reading books about money, reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, playing the cash flow game. There's
Yeah,
board games.
I got the, hold on, hold up. I got this book actually for my daughter.
Yes, Rich Kid, Smart Kid.
Yeah.
Yes.
We played the cash. We haven't played it. We haven't done this in a while, but yeah, playing a cash flow game and stuff like that. Yes.
Lucky, you have to play, like, try to commit at least every other week or something like that for you to play cash flow. It really, truly helps understand money. There are
Okay.
adults that literally just don't understand the concept of the game
Yes.
just
Okay.
because of traditional education hasn't
Yeah.
taught them.
Yes.
So yeah,
Okay. Wow. Okay. Well, this is just wonderful. We'd be on here all night
I
if
know,
I'll let you go.
right?
I know. I really appreciate it. Um, I would just say, one, I want you to be able to give your contact information before you get off. But just one last question: just what have you what have you learned about, I don't know, about life or yourself on this journey?
Ooh, what have I learned about myself or about life on this journey? That everything can be used.
Okay.
Everything and everyone and every experience can be used. There's nothing that doesn't matter.
Okay.
In the losses, in the gains, in the great business deals and the poor business deals, it all can be used. All of it
Okay.
is education. All of it is education. But overcome overcome the traumas, because from that experience I know I fell into a financial trauma. So much so I live in a paid for house. I drive a paid for car. You know, I got to the point where I wouldn't take risk.
Okay. Okay.
That's financial trauma. Just living very comfortable, not wanting to do anything and just hoard it all.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not living. That's not how money's supposed to be used. Even if you amassed a good amount of wealth, that wealth should still be working for you in some way. And so, you take these experiences not to be fearful. If a little kid touches a stove and the parent says it's hot, the parent isn't telling them to no longer use the stove.
Mhm.
They're telling them just to use it carefully. there's a better way to use the stove. Just don't put your hand straight on the burner.
Right.
You put your hand on the pot,
Yeah.
and the pot is
Yeah.
on the burner.
Right. Right. Right.
So that's what I would say.
Okay. Wow. Well, just thank you so much. I can't thank you enough. This has been wonderful and amazing. I've learned so much, and I'm sure the audience did as well. Before I let you go, for anybody who wants to reach out to you, or I don't know if you do. You said you teach. I don't know if you do classes online, or if everything is in person, or if you have courses, or if you have anything like that. Please, feel free to mention. But otherwise, also, I wanted you to be able to give out your contact info for people who may see this and want to reach out to you.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can contact me on most social medias. I'll say my number one social media is probably Instagram, at Aunty Shakey, Aunty Shakey, Shakey. And inside there will be my Calendly link. I would love to be able just to have a free consultation with you so you can learn more about what I do and, stuff like that. Also, as far as courses, I do webinars probably quarterly. I'm going to start doing them more often, but there are private groups that have me come in and teach their people. And
Okay.
so I don't have anything specifically for myself, but if you are a person that's interested in getting into the financial service space and you just need a mentor in that area, I am a great I'm a person that you can reach out to for that as well.
Wow. Well, wow. Thank you again. Hey, I might be reaching out to you. If you hear your phone ringing in about 10 minutes, it's me. No, just thank you so much. Congratulations to your son on both fronts, playing basketball after college and being able to make a living doing that. That is not an easy thing to do at all. I understand it.
Yeah,
So congratulations, and on his wedding and things like that. Congratulations.
thank you.
And just thank you so much for the information. And but like I said, I'll probably be reaching out to you at some point too, because it gave me definitely some different thought
Mm,
patterns about how I want to make things work and things I want to do for my own my own child and things like that in life. So thank you so much for
no
everything.
problem.
I really appreciate it, and I definitely look forward to circling back to you sometime in the future. So you can tell me how it is in Dubai,
Yeah.
and I can tell you, I'm getting 8 to 12% back now.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
so I appreciate it. And thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, and I appreciate you coming on and all your knowledge and wisdom.
Yeah,
Thank you. Definitely have a good evening,
you too.
and